Well, good morning. Hopefully you can hear me. The plug on this snowball tends to get loose when I move it around. And I remembered to check and push it in this morning, so hopefully it's working. Anyway, just now getting coffee. So I'm a little slow to start. Good, you can hear me, Trina. So, gonna be doing something a little different today. I'm gonna play around with hardware. So, no software today. Who do we got in the chat? Days Vintage Apple Tech. Good morning. And Starbuck. And All Things DG, who just installed Christmas lights on the iMac G3 in the living room and now is hiding from mopping bathroom floors like I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. They need some kind of Ramba or whatever they call it, little robot thing for mopping floors. I think it might be a little difficult to pull off, but anyway. Let's see, Trina. Yes, Trina. Oh my God, hardware. Yes, hardware. Hi, Eric Rangel. And who else do we have? I think I might have caught everybody. No, Any Bit Fever Dreams. Good morning. Yeah, 1-Bit Fever Dreams. We're 2 people today. Oh yeah, this mug is pretty interesting. There's a small business that started, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago that's nearby, and it's some high school classmates that took ceramics together and decided to form a company. And they do find handcrafted mugs. This is one of the limited edition mugs because they were just gifts. They didn't really sell them because the proprietary stuff on it. But one of them's a pretty good artist. They create all sorts of Tree of Life, and there's I forget what it's called. There's a Greek mug that's supposed to be used to facilitate conversation. It doesn't have a bottom that's flat, so you can't set it down. You have to actually carry it around and drink from it the entire time. They make those. Those are pretty big. I guess it's for holding wine or something like that. Anyway, Misery mugs, I think. And they sell online too, so if you guys are interested, they've got quite a bit. I'll see if I can find the link to them and put it in the chat. So anyway, but coffee. Oh, I love caffeine. It's the socially acceptable drug for me. Need my amphetamines in the morning. Anyway, let's get to the topic of the day. Let me see if I can switch cameras here. Sorry about the perspective. It's a bit tall. Yeah, we've got quite a few of these mugs, Eric. In fact, we had to stop buying them because we had so many. Anyway. So let me move my microphone here. Hopefully I don't disconnect it so that it's near the bench. Sorry about the noise. The space is a little tight around the bench, so it takes a bit for me to finagle things around. There we go. Now I gotta adjust the height. So how is everybody today? I've got one more week of work before I take off between Christmas and New Year. I usually don't do that. I'm in management, so I tend to cover people during the holidays and just go ahead and work that time. I mean, the nice thing about it is nobody's around, so it gives you time to take care of stuff that takes a lot of time and you don't seem to ever get to. But this year I decided I was going to take a break. Oh, you guys talking about Romulan ale and coffee. Yeah, this is a nice Mac Plus. And of course I set the mic right in the way. Sorry. Yeah, let me see if I can move that around. How am I going to do this? I guess I can put it there. Does that help at all? Nope. It's right in the way. Let's try. I have a short cord, so I can't really move it that far. I guess I'm going to have to work on my bench setup. I haven't done hardware in so long. I don't have, sorry, things set up properly. I think I need to get a, instead of using this mic stand, I should probably get a boom arm. I guess I could attach it to the microscope arm. That might work. Even better, I should get one of those newfangled clip-on mics. Yeah, so the story behind this, and it is filthy, because obviously it was not used recently. It's got schmutz on it. I don't know what that dark stain is. Anyway, I gotta clean it before I start working on it. I haven't had it open. Whoops. But I have had it on. They actually, where I got this is there's a local auction place, and this wasn't actually put up for auction. They just had it in their, it's kind of like a vintage store that's downstairs from the auction, where all the furniture and all that stuff goes. On the top floor, all the things that most people want. That's priced fairly steeply. That's all on the top floor. Well, the basement level is sort of the bargain place, so it's things they don't think have much value, and they just kind of throw it down there, and you go through it. Well, they do have a website, and they'll put pictures up occasionally of stuff that they have downstairs, and it just so happened there was this Mac Plus. Now, a couple of weeks ago, they had a 520, PowerBook 520, and I went to go get it, and it was already gone. Of course, it was like the day after when I tried to go get it. Sorry about the keyboard noise. I really don't want to touch these keys. So I went to go get the 520, and it was gone. You know, not surprising. I was looking at this Plus and turning it on, and there was a guy that was standing there. He says, "You're going to need a floppy disk for that." And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm aware. I refurbish these." He's like, "Oh really?" So we got to talking. He says, "Yeah, I was here a couple weeks ago, got a 520, a PowerBook 520. All he does is flip things on eBay." So, you know, he's not really into them. He just saw it, recognized it's something he could get a better price on, so he picked it up. And get this, they have a, fill a bag. You know, like they'll give you a paper sack or something. You can fill it with whatever you want down there on certain days, and it's $15. He picked up a laptop, the laptop, and some other stuff, all for $15. This place really doesn't know what they have. They don't do any research on eBay, I think. or you know, it's like anything else with the antique vintage community. Unless it's a furniture or a vase or some, you know, things like that that traditionally are done as antiques, they just don't know. So, okay, that's enough for this keyboard. At least I can touch it now. So he got that 520, no power cord, so he couldn't even turn it on. And I looked at him and says, I've got 3 power adapters for it. And he says, oh. Anyway, he got it, put it up on eBay, got $80 for it, untested, no power adapter. I'm like, oh, awesome. So why didn't you get this Plus? I said. And he says, oh, I don't know anything about these things. I didn't know whether it was worth bothering with or not, and shipping would be hard. I'm like, oh, okay. So I got it. It came with several things. It came with, well, where did I set it? Hang on a second. Oh, here it is. I recognize this, but I've never had one. Of course, I got light shining on it. This is an Info Cipher 1000R data receiver from General Instrument. And at first I thought some kind of weird lab equipment or something. But why would a guy, you know, that was probably from an estate sale or something, have lab equipment? But I don't know. Anyway, it came with the deal. So I picked it up. I looked it up when I got home, and it was something that you connected to your cable network. So there's the cable data in. And it would, the cable providers used to have an analog audio signal that was added to your cable service that carried data. So it would have things like current stock quotes, or you know, the Dow index, or you know, things like that. That data would be on there, and this thing would translate it, hooked up to your Plus, and it either accumulated the information and you would look at it in a report, or I guess there was some real-time software that would actually pick up on the data stream. So it's completely obsolete. You know, there's no point to it anymore. But I thought it was kind of cool. I knew a guy back in the 80s who had some similar service, and it had an LED display on it that showed the current Dow Jones industrial average. Oh, I got a question. None of the ImageWriter 2s I have the extra card. I did also pick up an ImageWriter 2 with this haul, but I haven't opened it yet, so I don't know if it's got a card. Most likely it doesn't. So, although I would like to have one, it'd be nice to have that. I did get a Tash Talk, but I haven't used it yet or put it together. So, rather have the card, actually. So that was with it. It also had a Rodime external hard drive and Power User Pro external hard drive, SCSI drive. Neither of which drives work. I hooked up the Power User one, and it doesn't recognize the SCSI device, so it's defunct. You know, that drive's dead. It spins up, but you know, I tried using immediate mode with a BlueSCSI to pick it up, and there was nothing. The Rodime does spin up. It does recognize there's a drive there, but it's not working correctly. It needs to be imaged. There's some kind of error that pops up. I don't even know if it can be initialized. Probably not. I guess the Rodime drives were not very good. They do have the distinction of being the first external drive that Apple purchased or was, provided for the Apple, and Apple did buy them to do the HD20 drive. They had a serial interface, which was really slow. This is a later model. This is the 45 Plus, which had a 66 megabyte hard drive in it. Or is it 600, not 66 megabyte, 660 megabyte? I don't know. Anyway, it had a bigger hard drive in it. So, anyway, to finish the story up, so I went up there and I was taking a look at it and asked the counter person how much they wanted for it, and she said, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, the Plus runs, but the floppy drive's kind of bleh. And so it does have the keyboard and stuff. I said, I don't know. And she said, well, what would you pay at a garage sale? And I wanted to say $2, but I knew that wasn't going to fly. So I gave him an honest answer. I said, for the Plus, not knowing what kind of condition it's in, I'd give you $30 for it. Garage sale prices, right? I said, for the rest of it, I said, the ImageWriter 2, those are a dime a dozen, basically, so it doesn't really have any value. The drives are probably dead. And she just said 50, and I was there at lunch, so I didn't have a lot of time. Instead of dickering and trying to get it down to 40 or whatever, I just said, yeah, I could do that. So I got all of it for $50, which is not bad. I'm not complaining. Yeah, it's not 660 megabytes. I don't remember, honestly. The drive information did give me a size, and I thought it said 66. Maybe it's the partition. Of course, the drive isn't really functional. It gave me an error message, so who knows what it is. Yeah, so $50, for a working Plus. That's about the rate that I'll go. And the keyboard itself's worth maybe $100 on eBay or more. So anyway, so I need to clean it up a bit because it is gross. It's got some stains on it. This citrus-based cleaner, I think it's from Home Depot. Zep. Anyway, this stuff works pretty well. Okay. Oh. So, who wants to take bets on what the battery's like? Somebody with dirty hands was using this. Hey, it's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's a little crusty. There goes the battery. Ugh. Old man noises. Here's a bit of green. Contact's got some corrosion on it. So we'll have to take care of that. Don't know why I'm bothering. I'm not going to put a battery back in it, but okay. Okay. That's clean enough to touch now. Boy. So let's open it up and see what's going on inside. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, we must test the battery voltage. That is a prerequisite. Point 0.46, 0.48, somewhere around there. Yeah, I'm going to go 0.46. Not a lot of life left to it. That one, let's see, let's get some tape. I need to buy some more blue tape. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't really read the chat while I'm at my bench. I don't have enough ports to get this bench monitor working. I'm going to have to work out something for that. Okay. Take a second to read the chat here. Oh, hey, Steve. Steve joined. Hi, Steve. Yeah, 0.4 volts. Ooh. Yeah, it probably was the voltage across my hands. I have magic hands. So, here's my custom-made tool for opening these things. So, this... I heat shrinked it together, so it was just taped together, so there was a ball of tape there. So it's a little more elegant than it was. I doubt this thing was ever opened up. But you never know. Ow. Sorry, the arthritis is really bugging me this morning. Starting to wonder if I should go the Action Retro route like Sean does and get some motorized electric screwdrivers. You know, if they've got enough torque to do these screws or not. I think Dave just reviewed something, didn't you? Yes, just the finest in jank. So, but it works. I do have an original. Oh, let's see if I can get it. So this came from my first. This came from my first Mac Plus. Sorry, I keep talking away from the mic. It was in the kit. It was owned by. I got it from the first owner. Well, second owner technically. It was won by the wife in the divorce. And I helped her set up a printer, and she's like, "You want this old computer?" I'm like, "Ooh, yeah." And that was before I got involved in the retro community at all. So it was like, I don't know, 15 years ago that I picked it up. And it just sat on the shelf. I didn't do anything with it. I mean, I turned it on. There was a box of floppies, so it had a few things, but I didn't really do anything with it. And then it dawned on me I could start doing HyperCard development again. So that's about the time I got into the retro community and really didn't use it. I got another computer and did that. So the Plus doesn't do much. But it was my first acquisition. Okay, let's get this keyboard out of the way. Hey, this is not going to be hard to open. I thought it was going to be difficult. Sometimes they're really tight. It's pretty clean on the inside. Ooh, it's rare. It's got signatures inside. You know, I wonder how many people stumble across a video about old Macs, and we make the joke about the signatures on the inside, so they run and get one and go, "Oh, I've got a valuable Mac because it's got signatures." Okay, let's turn this around and take a look. Wow, this is amazingly clean. There's a tiny bit of corrosion there. I don't think this was ever opened. I mean, look how unbent, unmangled that is. That looks like original factory installation to me. There's a little bit of scratching here, but this does not look like it was taken in and out several times. It's not dirty or dusty. I mean, the tube is really clean. This might have been under a dust cover. I mean, look at that board. Doesn't that look like, you could eat off that board? That's how clean that is. Wow. I wonder if this sat underneath a tarp or something for a long time. But that is very clean. Let's take a look at the logic board. Pardon me. Okay, this was probably serviced once to add memory. But look how clean this is. This is the cleanest Plus I have ever seen. I mean, the outside had some stuff on it, but there's like zero dust. Well, no, there's a little bit on the top surface along the ports. So right here, there's a little layer of dust right there, but hardly any. Cool. Floppy drive, not so much. I did use the floppy drive. It's a little anemic, so it needs a clean. But that's also not very dusty. There's a little bit of dust on top of the drive case, right there. Yeah, so it does have some dust in it, but you know, not very much. I wonder if it didn't get used very much. Okay, let's put this back. Oh man, that really hurts my hand. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm still kind of amazed at how clean this is. So, all right, well let's get the shield back on. I bet you this was off once to expand the memory, and that was it. Yeah, the Big Bad Biologist is sending me a plus that I think he had a recent stream where he had to replace one of the chips in it, you know, so he's had to do a lot of work on it. And one of the things he offered was to put a clipper plus on it, so he's going to do that. So I'll have one that has it. I'm thinking about just, you know, I'm going to clean up the floppy drive for it, but I'm thinking about leaving this, you know, stock. So. Okay. I apologize for my slowness, and I know I keep complaining about it, but oh my God, my hands hurt this morning. To the point where I can't use my thumb to turn this. I have to use my palm. But you know what? It's all good. Sometimes I wonder if the amount of karate I did really contributed to this, because you do a lot of hand work. The style of karate I used to do, it's Goju-ryu. It's one of the 3 Okinawan karates. And in Goju-ryu, you actually do quite a bit of grappling, not as much as judo and some of the other, Aikido doesn't really do grappling, but you do a certain amount. And when you grapple, what you want to do is grab a hold of the clothing, because you can control someone a lot easier with by grabbing their clothing. And when you grab a hold of someone's shirt, you curl your hand in and twist to get a really good grip on their clothing. Well, that whole action, and most of my arthritis is across here, that whole action of doing that really does hurt. So of course I keep doing it, right? And my left hand is actually worse than my right, which sounds counterintuitive. I'm not sure why. What's going on in the chat? You know, you're joking about Mr. Miyagi, but I forget the actor's name. A lot of what you see in the original Karate Kid is fairly accurate. The wax on, wax off is a blocking style, and all the things. Of course, the progression in the movie, the amount of skill this Ralph Macchio, is that his name, picks up in the movie is unrealistic, obviously. Even if he was born natural to it, he wouldn't be able to do what he was doing in the movie. But the techniques and the training and stuff are actually pretty accurate. At least as accurate as my experience. And I do kind of miss karate. Mostly I miss sparring. I had a lot of fun sparring. Oh, here's that battery cover. And the battery cover's not broken. Bonus. And this hasn't really yellowed that much. A little bit, but not bad. Okay, let's get the keyboard hooked up. I used to really enjoy going to gashikus. It's kind of like a karate camp, I guess. You'd get together for 2 or 3 days and do nothing but karate, morning to night. Very exhausting, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, the sparring part was what was interesting to me, because it was a fun workout. Of course, we had rules for sparring. You had to spar to the ability of your opponent. You pulled your punches a little bit. You never hit face. If you did bunkai, which is karate has forms. They're called katas in my particular form of karate. And those are stylized and very specific motions you go through that simulate combat. And one of the first ones you learn, you're doing this blocking striking move in 4 different directions. And when you first start karate, they don't explain a lot of this to you. You're really doing very basic stuff just to try to build up. But that kata is named after like a fight with 4 opponents, 4 people, 1 into the back, 1 to the front, and 1 to each side. And when you go through the motions of the kata, you're not really thinking about it at first, but then all of a sudden it kind of clicks and you go, I'm fighting an opponent. You're not doing it just to practice the moves. So it really helps with working on the forms when you think about that, because the fluidity of motion and what you're doing in that kata is you have to imagine the opponent. It really helps to do that. There's a thing called kime. When you do a punch in karate, and this is Western people have a lot of difficulty with this. When you throw a punch, you have to do it very fast, and you're very loose. You don't tighten up like you would. And in boxing, I'm sure it's very similar. You want to be fast with the punch, and then when you get to the point where you're actually in contact, you kime, which is you tighten up, and that way you're grounded, and the force of the punch is supported by your feet all the way up through your body and your frame, because you're bringing your ribs down and compressing your body into the punch, so that you can transfer that force. I really enjoyed it. I wish I could do it again. I could. Actually, I've thought about doing Tai Chi. At least with that, the problem there is that it's all about fluidity. Even though it is a martial art, and it is about fighting. But it's a lot more about the fluidity of movement, and I tend to be very tense and kime and do things when you finish a motion, and that's not what Tai Chi's for. So it does make it a little difficult for me to do that. I look like I'm fighting an opponent when I do Tai Chi. So karate concepts are used in agile programming methods. Oh yeah, Pat Moriarty. Anyway, I really enjoyed the meditation part of karate, because when you start, Jubi Undo is, I'm probably mispronouncing it, it's been a while, is like a warm-up exercise as you do to get ready. But before you even do that, you sit in what's the Seiza. You sit in Seiza with your feet behind you and sitting on kneeling, and you have to relax and breathe, and it's like you're trying to just be. Instead of doing something, you're just trying to exist and be, and free yourself of distractions and work and everything else that's going on in your mind. You're not falling asleep. So that's a challenge sometimes. Okay, what was I doing? I got the keyboard hooked up. I need the mouse. Where did I put the mouse? Mouse is right here. This mouse is also filthy. I'm going to take a minute to clean the mouse. Sorry about that. Very filthy. So, but again, I really miss parts of karate. My eldest daughter has her junior black belt in Goju-Ryu, and she did that as a child all the way through most of high school, and then she had to give it up because it was just, high school was just too much with marching band and dance and karate. She was overscheduled. Anyway, she's looking at we moved recently to East Lansing, and there's an Aikido dojo that's close by, and she's actually thinking about going and checking it out to see whether she wants to do that or not, because that's something that is interesting to her. So I might go visit the dojo and see what they do. But I think my karate days are over, though, frankly. Yeah, that's clean enough anyway. Okay. Pardon me while I move this around. Ugh. Okay, we got a mouse. Got a keyboard. I got a mouse pad around here somewhere. Here's the mouse pad. I really do need to clean off my bench. I did a little bit, but I need more space. Boy, that mouse is chunky. Okay. Let me check the chat here. Well, I have a very happy bench then, if a messy bench is a happy bench. It does show that it's used. But I've got several things on here. I mean, I've got a 3D printer over here. I've got my soldering station. I've got this rack that's got my eldest daughter's Plex server is on here, and some other stuff. I really do need to clear some of this stuff off. The Quadra 610 needs some work. I was using it as a server, but you know how that is. It really wears them. So that needs to come off that rack. Anyway, I just need to, and I need to get into doing some of the camera stuff I need to work on. Coffee's starting to get old. Ooh, there's some more crufty stuff. I'm not going to try cleaning this entire thing. There's a bunch of cruft on the side. All right, let's take a look and see if this thing fires up. I know it does, but you guys haven't seen it. Move this out of the way enough you can see the screen. Oh yeah, we need power. Oh, I'm really going to have to do something with the mic. This is a mess. All right. Oh, I need a floppy. That's not going to do it. Oh, I got to show you the floppy, one of the floppies that came with this. I'll show you that in a minute here. Well, Mac OS 8's not going to work on that. You can skip that one. Some floppy called Adventure, that's not going to be any good. I think that's a good boot disk. So let's power it on. Got a chime. And we have a disk prompt. Okay. Disk floppy drive sounds okay. Like I said, this thing must have been kept under a cloth or something because it's clean. Okay. About Finder. So this is the old Finder. What we got on this disc? Right, 4.5. Ooh. You know, I was really annoyed with all the floppy swapping and stuff when I used these originally, but I do like that sound. Oh, a system error occurred. Wonderful. Anyway, so this is that system disk I was telling you about. Do you notice anything about it? It's got a really, really interesting shutter here. Let me open it. Look how slow that closes. This is a system startup disk, but I don't think I want to use it. It must have got ink on it or something. Marker. It's pretty bad. What else we got on this one? Finder system, draw, 3D, full paint. Okay, it appears to work. Gee, that was kind of boring hardware. There was nothing to fix. It just needs to be cleaned up. Let's open up these drive enclosures, take a peek at them. Yeah, we still got time. So I'm going to shut this down. You know, and it was not bad at ejecting the disc. I think it could still be relubricated. I'm pretty sure that's a little dry in there. But hey, I'd say this is a pretty good machine. Okay, so, ow. Oops. Okay. So let's open up again with the mic. Sorry. Okay. So I did try to see what I could do with these drives. I've got a BlueSCSI I put in an initiator mode. That works really nice for grabbing images of drives. In this case, the drives didn't respond, so we don't need this. Now, it did come with some SCSI cables, and a terminator. we'll look at this one first. Okay, so this is the Rodime, manufactured in Scotland, or at least the company. I guess they were Burroughs Corporation employees. Burroughs did computers and calculators and things like that. They still exist as a corporation. In fact, I interviewed for a job there, but they're almost defunct. There's hardly anything left to them. And they were doing like financial transactions, so they were like a go-between for banks and things like that. And it wasn't a very interesting job. I didn't really want it. The plus side was they said, you know, we've got a building that's entirely empty except for us, and they were occupying some offices on the first floor. They said, you could have any office you want. I'm like, oh yeah. Not much of an incentive, honestly. They were having a hard time filling the position. The building was in Pontiac. So it wasn't all that great a place to commute to. Or, no, not Pontiac. It was near Livonia, actually. Anyway, I just wasn't interested. The biggest problem with it is that there were so few people that, and because it was banking, you had to provide support on call 24/7, and you didn't take turns on it. It was like, nope, anything that you work on, you've got to provide the support for. And I'm like, okay, not interested, thank you. Well, at least they were upfront and honest with me about the job. You know, they could have tried to sell me on it or something, but I have a feeling that they were on their way out. So, okay. Come on. I did have this open once before. It only has these 2 screws in the back to hold it. The screws on the bottom are just for the feet. But it also is kind of particular about opening up. There we go. Yeah, so this is nice. It's, you know, designed to go right underneath your classic Macintosh computer. This is dustier, so you know that fan's kind of excuse me, dirty. The drive's kind of interesting physically. Let me get the cable off here. So it's a chunky thing. Now, I've debated whether I want to try to put a BlueSCSI in this and use it as an external drive enclosure. I'd have to figure out some place to get access to the BlueSCSI without having to open it up. I mean, there are slots on the bottom for, you know, cooling. You could make it easy to access it that way. I don't know. I kind of like these things. I like the aesthetic of having this sitting you know, underneath your plus. So back in the day, when I was at university, I worked, this was my third college I went to. So I went to a small community college to start, and then switched to a big university, Michigan State University in Lansing, East Lansing, Michigan. Did not enjoy my time at Michigan State. I was a mathematics major to start, and then you start to realize that you're either going to have to go on and get a PhD if you're going to be able to do anything, because nobody really hires just bachelor degree mathematics students. Well, I decided I didn't want to do that. But the College of Engineering at Michigan State, where computer science is at, had really pretty high grade point average restrictions, and I did not meet them. I was getting about a 3.2, I think, and then you needed a 3.4 to get into the College of Engineering. So I had to look around for someplace else to go, so I went to Northern Michigan University in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and graduated from there, and my grade point went up because it's a smaller college, and I actually needed the help of my professors. And at Michigan State, you're just another number. I couldn't even get TA assistance time there. Whereas at Northern, if you were struggling with anything, the professors knew it and would approach you and say, "Come to my office, let's work on this." So my grade point went up. I really enjoyed it there. But anyway, I had a student job there, working for the university, and we would go around and pick up machines and repair them. And gosh, I forgot where I was going with this story when I started it. Anyway, long story short, since I don't remember the point I was trying to make, I did learn a little bit about hardware, but not very much. I could change the rubber bands on full height floppy drives. I learned how to do that. I could ink ribbons because, student labor was cheap. But alright, so this is the hard drive from it. Sorry. Where is the camera? There's one camera. There's the other camera. Okay. So this does spin up, but it doesn't do much. And I'm not Steve, so I'm not going to crack this open and try to fiddle with it. I don't think the head's stuck or anything. I think it's dead. There's your power supply. Anyway. There you go. It's a funky case. I don't know why. I guess they did it because of space, but they stuck the fan on the outside instead of inside it. I don't know. Better flow. I'll put that back together later. Look at the other drive. Okay. And this one, a little bit different case design. I think this is more common. for a lot of the later external drives. They didn't sit underneath your Mac, they sat on the side. Look how yellowed that is. The paint job's pretty good, but the plastic's pretty yellow. Okay, this has a Quantum ProDrive LPS in it. When this turns on, you can hear it click 5 times and then stop clicking. It spins up, but I don't think it's functional because it doesn't even recognize there's a SCSI device. It's a bit simpler. And you got your power supply in here. So this might lend itself to being a BlueSCSI case. I don't know. I could, have a slot for the BlueSCSI there, or you could cut one and put it in the back, I suppose. But I don't see much point in doing it. That's it. That's the hardware. That was the cool thing that I got with some SCSI cables. Oy. Oh. Sorry, let me switch cameras here and move the mic again. Okay. Hello there. How are you guys doing? Let's check out the chat, see if anybody's still here after that very boring hardware stream. Didn't have to hardly do any work on anything. Didn't have to do any work on anything. Yeah. Quantum drive. I seem to be, kind of fortunate in this area when I do pick up something from either a marketplace or something like that. Usually it either works or it doesn't. Hey Trina. So what else am I working on? Yeah, we're a little over an hour, so this is a good place to wrap it up. Still working on Adventure. I'm actually at the point, I did do a blog post recently. I'm pulling code out now. There are some features that, hey John, there's some features and things that I added to the Adventure game, like buttons so that you could move from the game to the editor and from the editor back to the game. Unfortunately, the way the game works, live editing of your current running game is just not something that's feasible. Trying to reconcile differences in the database if you edit the game and where you're at in the game. What if the location's removed or, whatever? It doesn't make any sense. So you have to reload the game anyway and start from scratch if you edit the game. So there really isn't any advantage to having both stacks open or flipping between them. And I ran into a problem with I rewrite the menu in HyperCard to be in context for the game or in context for the editor, and I was getting this strange error where it was not able to write the menu correctly. It would end up as a single string of characters going across under the file menu instead of being the file menu. So rather than try to solve that problem, I removed the feature to switch between the editor and the stack and the game stack. It's not a solution to the problem, but sometimes you compromise. And this was something that really didn't add that much value, so it was easy enough to make the decision to pull it out. I also removed the save icon from the editor cards. So if you're working on a record, you no longer have to click save for the record and then save for the file. I added a dirty flag. So if you edit anything on that record, it knows that it needs to be saved. So it just automatically saves it in memory. If you leave the program, it'll ask you if you want to save your changes because the dirty flag is set. It knows it needs to save. If you navigate from record to record, it recognizes that the current record you're on is dirty and it needs to save it, but it just does it in the background. So no need for a save icon. Remove that functionality. So I removed some code, but I also wrote code to replace it. So that's not really the same kind of thing as just removing a feature. And there's some other things. I fixed some bugs, and in the process of fixing them, I actually added a little bit of functionality. I extended the database in an area because I wanted things like the configuration for certain things to be set in the game file and not just in the application. So it might be appropriate for the game to have certain things set. Excuse me, I'm going to put some old man cream on my hands and work it in, so I apologize for the sound. Anyway, my hands really hurt. I should have done this when I got up this morning. Anyway, so I'm pulling code out, and of course I've already written 90% of the manual, so I have to go revise the manual. But that's okay. I'm still on track for Macintosh to have the beta ready for testing by a group of testers. So I've got a few people that are interested in testing it. Still have to get the distribution mechanism done. I've got a modified Mini VMAX so I can distribute it and it automatically starts up and all that. Things like that. So that's going on with Adventure. It's kind of a slog at this point. What else? More t-shirts. I designed some more t-shirts. I have another idea for a t-shirt I'm going to work on probably today, so there'll be a new t-shirt out. What else? I did a little promotional thing for Tinker Different last video, so if you guys haven't checked out Tinker Different, you might want to check that. It's good. If you're not into the social media and you'd rather have a forum format for information and doing posting, that's a great solution for that. What else? Like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. What am I going to be doing next weekend? I don't know. Next weekend, my youngest, who is in Virginia, is going to be visiting, so I may be busy and not live streaming next weekend. We'll have to see. I'm not sure when they're coming up. I am taking the week off, not next week, but the week after. So I hope to be able to do some streaming during the day. And that's about it. I can't think of anything else right now. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm pretty sure the next one's going to be a software live stream instead of hardware. So unless by chance I happen to run into another deal like today's. That's it. Everybody, I hope you have a happy holidays. Whatever supreme beings you believe in or just yourself. Got a bit of advice. It's from MASH, so Trina will appreciate this reference. Take my advice. Pull down your pants and slide on the ice. Have a good time, everyone. Where's the button for the outro?